Camera for Donny.
Go for Donny.
Sound for Donny.
Go for Donny.
Makeup for Donny.
Go for Donny.
What about for Donny?
Go for Donny.
Grip apartment for Donny.
Go for Donny.
Wardrobe for Donny.
Go for Donny.
Roll for Donny. Go for Donny.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got a special guest here on the podcast today, Raoul Germain, director of photography. Not only that, he's also my cousin. So,
lucky you.
Oh man, lucky you, dude. Good thing I came into the family.
Right.
Yeah, no, it's so fun to have you on, RJ. I'll for the guest, his name is Raoul, but family and some friends call him RJ, which I still call him RJ. So forgive me if I do call you RJ Raoul.
No, that's all good. I love RJ.
But dude, thanks for being on the podcast.
I'm super excited to be here. You know, I've been watching all your episodes for months now, and I'm just super excited to be a part.
Thanks, man. I think you're the one of the only family member that watches or have watched.
Yvette watches.
Oh, that's
my
good.
sister
That's
watches.
Oh, that's
Yvette was excited. She was like, "I don't know anything that they're talking about, but I love watching it."
Oh, dude, that's great. Okay, so there's a few family members because I will say, when you do something and you tell family and friends about it, and I'm just referencing Facebook because, man, no one cares.
Nobody cares.
Nobody
how many
gives a
short
shit.
films I've asked my family to watch? Nobody watches my short films. Nobody's interested.
Yeah. So it's like, you're like, whatever. It's like, for a hot minute you care. And then you're like, what? I get it. Whatever. Cool. That's family. But it's great. That's awesome. So you know about the show, you listen to it. And obviously,
absolutely.
So the way that this all came about, and it's funny because you are kind of involved with it because, all my buddies who you know very well from Top Gear, when we get together and you would be hanging out with us, we would talk about some stupid shit, some stupid stories, right?
Just reminiscing. Yeah.
Stupid, fun stories. But I think you could probably tell the stories better than us because you heard them so many times and you got sick of them so many times. And a few other friends that didn't work on that show got sick of them. And so, I kind of felt bad, and that's why I wanted to start a podcast so that we could hear more about them. But no, but seriously, it's kind of cool to be able to talk about them because you know about a lot of the stories that we talked about, and all these new fun stories that we're going to share today that you have.
Well, that's the thing about production. I was going to say it's the thing about production is you go on set and you're with these people day in and day out, 12, 15, and 16 hours a day. Then you're going back to the hotel, finding dinner. Just trying to live as a family. You create a family out there and, what does family want to do, but talk about good times, so, I've joined a lot of families in my 25 years of, working in this industry. And of course we have a million stories and some of them are amazing. Some of them are scary. But they're all super memorable and anybody that actually works within this industry can totally understand, where you're coming from when you're talking about the hell nightmare that a show might have been, or the amazing time that a show might have been.
Yeah.
Talking about production is one of the things that people work in production do best.
We talk about it all the time between that and the traffic and the weather.
Yeah, exactly.
The Californians.
Yeah. How'd you get here?
Yeah, no, that's funny. But before we get into that, you guys, I want everyone to stay tuned for Switch to Channel 2, a fun little podcast that, kind of goes with this one where, when we're on set, RJ, whenever you needed to chat with someone, you'd always call them and tell them to switch to channel 2. You would have your chatter. Everyone else would switch to channel 2 and listen into that chatter. And then you go back to your respective channels. So I decided to come up with a little thing called Switch to Channel 2, which is coming up next, where we'll get to know Raoul just a little bit better and see what he's doing next. So, but let's get into some fun stories, RJ. So many stories about me, about what I've done, stupid shit in personal life and at work. I don't know. I want to hear what you were talking about, something that happened. I want to hear about the Bachelor stories first, because now but let me preface this. Before I got into this industry 20 some years ago, Raoul was the cool guy in the family working in the industry 20 plus years ago. And he was on the first Bachelor. Is that correct?
Yes, the very first Bachelor. I was a technical supervisor.
Dish.
I was yes. I was working with a really amazing director of photography that I had met on a television show right before that, my very first reality show ever, which was called The Future Diaries. And and I had met this guy who was a camera operator, and on a freebie, we were shooting a USC graduate film. And so we're all on the set working for free. And there was this one guy that was working at Road Rules or something like that. And he was like, yeah, I'm making $550 a day as a camera operator. And I was like, dude, get me a job. I'll do anything for a job at Road Rules. And because I was making like $75 a day as a PA at the time. And sure enough, I got a phone call from somebody. It was the next show. It wasn't on Road Rules, but they offered me this job, and it was amazing. I met all these amazing people. This is the early years of reality television. This is 2001, right after the world exploded. We were literally working in November of 2001. I met this amazing director of photography named Bruce Reddy, which I know a lot of your people know. He's Emmy Award-winning, really, really neat guy, Aussie. We formed a really quick bond, and he started hiring me for everything that he was doing. And the next show after that was The Bachelor. It was the very first Bachelor.
Wow.
Bruce was the director of photography, and he brought me on as the technical supervisor, which is just managing all the gear, managing all the cameras, making sure they're all spec'd, and ready to go out on the floor when they need to go out on the floor. And it was an amazing show. It was an amazing learning experience, as a really young filmmaker, young guy who actually wanted to go into film. And, Los Angeles is just full of reality television. And so that's what we did. And we spent, I guess it was probably 12 weeks or so, working on this show, building out the house. I know everybody, we're on Bachelor 26 now.
Something like that. I know. It's been going on forever. Yeah. All
these spin-offs and everything. But it was just like they remember it. Like, I think there was a television show that they made based on the making of that show.
Oh,
remember
that's
that?
Right. It came and went. That was a great show.
Yeah, it was a narrative show about the making of The Bachelor. Of course, all the names were changed to protect the not so innocent.
Yeah.
And it was true. The executive producer on that show was getting stoned I don't know that he was sitting on a grip truck, but he was pretty much getting stoned, out in the parking lot, the parking area of this house, this big mansion that we were in Malibu. There are people there working on The Bachelor now that were working on the show as production assistants back then. Oh. And they're still on the show. They're executive producers on that show.
I was going to say the showrunners, right? Because that's how that works. You start as a PA and you work all the way up.
Yeah.
That's
nuts. You're talking about 23 years of working on a show. I mean, it's insane. But yeah, we had some really wild things happen on that show. They bring on all these bachelorettes. We're probably our second or third day of filming. So we got a crew over at the Bachelorette house. And it's just, I don't know how many women we had, 15, 20 women, something like that, all living in this big house. And of course, just like any good reality show, they're plying them with alcohol. Having these big dinners. And, they've got an audio person with managing, probably a couple of them managing something like 16 to 20 mics. And one of the women notices that one of the other women was missing. And they're all sitting at dinner and they're like, hey, where did Sarah go? And so the girls start running all around the house looking for Sarah, and they can't find her. That's just a made-up name. And finally, they ask the audio people, like, hey, can you bring all the audio down except for hers? So maybe that'll help us figure out where in the house she is. And so they pod everything down except for this one person, and they hear breathing. They hear kind of like this kind of snory breath kind of thing happening. And so then they know that she's somewhere, but she just passed out. She's out, So they start checking all the doors, checking every house, every room in the house that they could find. And there's one door, a bathroom door, that's locked. And they're trying to put their ear up to the door. They knock. They can hear the knocks through the audio, so they know that she's in this room. And she's not waking up. She's not responding to the door knocks. And so everybody's kind of running around the house trying to see if there's any other way to get in. And there's a window that's maybe like that. And everybody's like, who's the thinnest person on set? And everybody looks at me. They're like, Raoul, he's skinny. So the window's just slightly ajar. So I go up there, I push it open, and it's actually in the show. If you watch, I don't know what episode it is, maybe could be the first or second episode. They have a shot of me crawling through the window because they made it a story beat to find this woman, and the poor girl was sitting on the commode and just passed out. So I very quickly get in there. I kind of notice that she's there and just go to the door and unlock it. And I'm not even joking. 15 women just ran over me to go and take care of this poor girl. And that was just, day 2 on The Bachelor. People getting just overserved, basically. Things just kind of going awry. I mean, it was like that left and right. I mean, we had PAs that were taking golf carts out onto PCH.
Oh my God.
Oh, I mean, it was mayhem. Like I said, I mean, when the executive producer of the show is getting stoned for the entire time, I mean, what do you expect from everybody else under him?
Wow. Well, I mean, I've done house reality shows, man. So I've done 2 with Paris Hilton, my new BFF, season 1 and 2, which you did some stuff with us as well. We'll talk
some
about
interviews, towards the end.
And then I did Real Chance at Love season 2. That was that was a real gem. That was a gem up there at the Surreal House,
Yeah.
And I just don't ever care to do another house reality show ever again.
Do they even exist anymore? I think they do.
Well, they do they did a Surreal Life. I think they came back with a Surreal Life.
I think they did do a Surreal Life. There's still like The Bachelor and The Bachelorette series.
Yeah, all that shit. Yeah, and then the and what's the one where they're all stuck in the house together?
Big Brother.
Big Brother. Yeah, that's been going on forever. So yeah, there's a few. I mean, I
have friends that work exclusively for The Bachelor. I called one buddy to see if I could get a job, and he said, "Oh, dude," he's like, if it doesn't have Bachelor in the name, I don't work on it." I was just like, wow, that's amazing. And I mean, he's been working, he's a union member. He's got amazing benefits. I mean, those shows just keep cranking out.
So about a year or so ago, I interviewed with those guys. They were looking for some replacement production managers because I'm sure they go through them. I mean,
they're just falling by the wayside.
Because they're like, we don't stop working.
Yeah.
It's The Bachelor, it's The Bachelorette, it's Bachelor in Paradise, it's Bachelorette.
Senior Bachelor.
Yeah, exactly. It's the whole franchise. He's like, we work year round. You basically go from show to show to show to show to show.
Yeah, I mean, they created something amazing.
Great, but
I mean, I just remember I was in the room when they were trying to decide how the rose ceremony was going to go. Are we going to have them all line up? Are they all going to be scattered around? I mean, just like those little moments. That first host of the show, I forget his name. But yeah, watching this whole show come together, and I thought to myself, this is the most ridiculous idea in the world. I had just actually personally in my own life had just ended like a 6-year relationship. And I thought to myself, how is this even possible that somebody's going to meet somebody and in just a few weeks decide that they're going to marry them? I thought it was just the silliest show ever. Mm-hmm. But look at the juggernaut that it's turned into. I mean, it's just really unbelievable.
You like Ricky Lake, Phil Donahue,
right?
All those shows, a dating show, and it's actually happening, and it's kind of successful.
I did a show with Ricky Lake. I did Charm School. I don't know I think it was Charm School 2. I don't remember exactly. It's
familiar.
They're taking a bunch of. I think that show came out of one of the love shows where they were trying to date that rock star. Who was that rock star?
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Something for Love, Rock of Love.
Yeah, Rock of Love, and then
so all the girls from Rock of Love, they're all a bunch of strippers. Honestly, like gang members. They were like girls who were trying to find their way out of something, and they all put them onto this show called Charm School, which is basically like a Taming of the Shrew kind of thing, where they're going to teach a bunch of young women how to, be proper. And that was with Ricky Lake. Ricky Lake was the host of that show. Ricky was a lot of fun. I had a good time with Ricky.
Then they did like something like Joe Schmo and Joe Millionaire.
I worked on Joe Schmo 2.
Oh, shut up.
Oh yeah, Joe Schmo 2. And again, this is like with a really amazing set of people. Like all the camera operators on that show. Actually, one of those camera operators ended up hiring me. He became a showrunner at some production company, 51 Minds.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, that's where I. And a few. I did a few things with 51 Minds back in the day.
I did a few things with 51 Minds as well before I got the hell out.
It made you like, oh man, yeah.
Yeah, they had some questionable morals over there. But again, those shows kept me working for a long, long time. It was just reality show after reality show after reality show. I do all of those, make a bunch of cash, and then I go off and shoot my my art films and my other like artsy projects, on film or whatever it was. I always just kind of saw reality TV as like an opportunity to stockpile cash so I could go out and actually do all my artistic endeavors.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. I think a lot of people do that. Dude, I remember back in the day when you did reverb. That was cool.
yeah.
I was like, artsy, but still you're getting paid to do that.
Yeah, Reverb was an amazing opportunity as well. All shooting rock and roll for HBO, shooting on film, which was amazing. We had like
Shot
6
that on
beta
film?
cams.
Black and
Yeah,
white.
I shot on film. My camera was the film camera, and then they had 6 other beta cams. This is Betacam SP days.
Oh, geez. Wow.
On jibs, on dollies, handheld. And most of those guys, back in the day, camera operators, it's not like it is today. There wasn't as much content being produced in the late 90s as there is now.
The channels.
And, the opportunities for people my age, I was like 30 years old already. But that was like when people were just kind of starting to do camera operating. Now you're like a 22-year-old, graduate from college somewhere, and you could be working on a multi-million-dollar film these days.
Yeah.
But back in the early days, those opportunities just weren't there. So I was still, I was 28 years old. I had left Castle Rock Entertainment, where I had a really amazing career over there. Not career, but it was like my first job out of college, working on
cool
shows
to work
like
there.
It was amazing. I was working on Seinfeld, In the Line of Fire, Striptease, all of these amazing films and television shows that were being produced back then. And I was working in the video library over there. And it was a really amazing opportunity. I was working with Rob Reiner and Jeffrey Stott and Alan Horn. I mean, some of the biggest names in Hollywood today. And they're all really nice guys. They're all super accessible. Rob Reiner let me use the short ends from Waiting for Guffman, which was all 16 millimeter. He let me use the short end so I could shoot my own short film. Wow. Which is pretty amazing.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's cool stuff.
That's pretty cool.
Rob was a really great guy. Like I said, super accessible. But leaving that and this really structured world of like corporate television and filmmaking, and then entering into the reality TV world was just such a shock. I was so amazed at how they operated. It really wasn't at the level that I was so used to operating. Remember the first show, I was a technical supervisor, but every now and then I would operate the 40 by lens, which is just this monstrous lens. They needed something shot really far away. And so I was the guy that was operating that camera, and they gave me an AC, an assistant camera person. And I asked him to set some things up on the camera, and I was like, a lot of ND and open up the aperture. And he was like, "What's an aperture?" And I was like, "You're my AC? You're my assistant camera person?"
You don't know?
And he was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Generally, my assistants know more about the camera than I do, And he was like, "Oh, I was a runner on the last show, and the producer hired me on this and said I could be an assistant camera person." And he was just literally like a PA on the very last show that he was on.
Oh, man, you're like...
And that's just the way it worked. I remember working for MTV. I was doing sorority life, fraternity life. I was working in Buffalo for 3 months.
Oh, that's right.
And they needed somebody to go out and monitor sound on the floor. And they literally handed a sound pack to this person. It was like an X5 or something like that, so old school sound pack. And they said, when that dial goes into the red, turn this dial down. And this guy went out there and he did it. And I promise you, he was probably an audio person on the next show.
That's crazy.
It's crazy. I mean, that's just the way the early days of reality TV was. It was kind of like the Wild West. You didn't have to have the most experienced guys when you have 10 guys on the floor following, a bunch of people around, because somebody's going to get it. One of those cameras is going to be on something that happens. And so you just throw people at it,
Yeah.
I mean, those are the early days. I mean, the budgets aren't the same anymore. I mean, back in those days, I think we were doing episodes for about $750,000 per episode.
Wow.
Which is monstrous. It's a lot of money to be spending. You've got 20 camera operators that are working in shifts, audio people everywhere, story producers, PAs. I mean, that's when they had catering there on set. Now everybody's like taking a lunch order, and you got to, hit something on a phone or something like that. And if you have a coordinator anywhere near you, you're like on the big show. I'm working on a show right now, true crime, and we go out. It's just literally me and my assistant, and we're running around with 15 cases of gear, staying in the Airbnb that we're actually filming at to help the production save some cash. I mean, they're always nice Airbnbs, But the level of production has gone down so much. It's really unbelievable how little support you get out in the field these days.
Yeah, you kind of like fend for yourself. But yeah, they do. They have cut back manpower, you know, to where you did have a lot of support where you don't now. And it's, you know, it's going to the model, the British model, that shooter producer, you know, 1 to 2 person team, which sucks for everyone else.
It makes it difficult. It makes it very difficult to, in my opinion, really get a good show. I mean, you need support out there in the field. Fortunately, you know, my assistant and I are both super experienced, and we kind of can see the problems before they begin. So we kind of act as our own support out there, which, you know, isn't ideal. But, you know, it's just the way things are working these days. It's just a completely different world.
That blows. Hey, let's go back to, we were talking Paris Hilton, and so I did a couple of shows with her and knew her, but you did a Thanksgiving special?
I did the Thanksgiving special with her. We went, I don't believe that we were at her house. We had rented some sort of kitchen or something.
Yeah, we were somewhere out in Encino at some house. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and we shot that. You know, she loves light. The whole place was just plastered with light, pretty shadowless. And that carried on. You know, I just did her latest show, Paris Finds Love, or
that's right.
Paris Looking for Love.
Oh yeah.
Which was just following her around for her wedding, like for a couple of months before her wedding, while she planned it with her family. We were with her sister, her mother, quite a bit. It was actually a really fun show. Paris is great. I really like Paris. She's a very, very sweet girl. I mean, I've worked with her, you know, multiple times over the years. I don't think she knows my name, but she was always very kind and very generous. Really great person. And working on her show was a lot of fun. You know, we basically kind of shot it like a movie. Everything that we did, we were like in her home in New York, in her apartment, and we'd bring out a 20 by rag and throw like an S60 or an S120 or whatever it is, one of the big flat panels, and push that through this 20 by, you know, in her apartment.
Wow.
Like, and we'd have to bring it upstairs through the elevator and everything. And then, you know, all the camera operators on that show, super talented group of people, all just making sure that we just shoot that way and we never shoot this huge thing. You know, we have like our fourth wall. And so that show was a lot of fun. Running around with her, we were shooting it on Alexas with prime lenses, you know, really making the show look special. And they just had a ton of money that they were giving us for that. So
wow,
it was a fun show. She's very, very busy.
She's a lot of fun. I spent a lot of time with her. I've made her blue cheese burgers at her place. I barbecued up there. But one time, I don't know what we were doing. We spent a lot of time together, and so I remember it was voting day, and there was some issue with her not voting yet, and so we still had her, and it was up to me to get her out to, I don't know, East LA somewhere, to a voting center, so that way she can go and vote. And the press caught wind that we were filming something at some stage in you know, up in Hollywood off of Melrose or something. Mm-hmm. And so we had to figure out a plan how to get her out of there without them knowing. So we used 2 SUVs. We had one dummy SUV and then another one get her.
Wow.
And then we had to go out, literally drive her out to, somewhere in East LA. I'm blanking where it was, but, you know, had her vote there and then get her home. And it was so crazy. I was like, oh my, and the press are just hounds, man. I mean, you know, whenever you're with someone like that, they're just hounds.
GFD is a BFD. Go for Donny. Check out all the Go for Donny swag and the gofordonny.com website. And remember to hashtag HTFU.
Hey guys, we're back. Geez, I think we were talking about Paris and my time, at least my time with her, and how much fun I had, you know, with Paris. So hopefully Paris, hopefully you come on sometime and, you know, you can share.
Paris would be a great guest. One of my favorite things about working with Paris is just working with her dogs. All the dogs are fantastic.
Dogs. Yeah.
Oh my God, they're so much fun and they're so cute. And she's just so liberal with them. Like, here, take the dog.
Oh, so you got to go up to the house, and did you
spent
see
a lot of time at the house?
The dog house?
Oh yeah, the dog house, the big pink dog house in the backyard. Yeah,
awesome.
It's like as big as my place.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, she's cool people.
Yeah, and then the last time, you know, I don't know how you are with celebs. or people you work with, but I don't take pictures with them.
No.
I don't do the autograph thing. I've never been into that stuff. Never. And so cut to, we were in Vegas for birthday, and I was getting a hold of Mason, who is, he works or used to work with Paris, did a lot of security for Paris. Really great guy, Malibu Mason. Malibu, you're welcome on the show too. And so I hit him up asking for some other dude's number because I was going to see if there's anything going on in Vegas. And he's like, why? I'm like, because I'm in Vegas, we're going to see you go out for my wife's birthday. And he's like, we're in Vegas. He's like, P's here. He's like, come to the Hard Rock. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, come to the Hard Rock. Come hang out. I'm like, you want to go to the Hard Rock? And Jeannie's like, yeah. I'm like, okay. And so we went, and we had the best time with Paris. And I was like, Paris, I didn't think she knew my name, but of course she did because we spent so much time together. But I was like, hey, Paris, I've never taken a picture with you. Is it all right if we get a picture? And she was like, what? And then we just started taking pictures. So I got a bunch of I have to find them with her. And then she was up on the speaker, and I was taking pictures of her on the speaker. It was just so weird and fun.
Yeah, totally.
Being in that little bubble for a minute. And then we had fun, and then we left, but that was cool. She's good people. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Honestly, I've met a bunch of bigger celebs like in that world. I was with somebody for a little while who was doing a lot of the Kardashians.
Oh.
And, everybody talks, trash about the Kardashians. And, I'm not here to pump them up or anything, but legitimately, they all were very nice people. I ran into one of them. I don't know which one of the sisters in Vegas. You're talking about Vegas. They were there for some sort of opening of some club at one of the casinos. And at the time, my ex was working for them. And I was just like, I wonder if I should just go say hello, So I go up and I say hello. I was like, hey, so-and-so works for you, blah, blah, blah. And she lit up. She was like, oh, my goodness. She was like, come over here, sit with us. Let's take some pictures. We'll send them to her. I mean, she was just like the sweetest, nicest girl. And she, had rave things to say about my ex. I don't. She had rave things to say about my ex and all of that. I mean, it was really amazing. Like, these people are legitimately, they're people, And so many of them are really kind and generous when you're just kind of like this little, like we were in just this little bubble as well. But I've had an amazing time with so many celebs. The only time that I have actually done the photo and autograph thing, I was working on Big Time Rush for Nickelodeon. And we were working over at Paramount, and they had a scene where they were going to be recording some music, and Snoop Dogg was the special guest star on the episode. And so Snoop Dogg comes walking in, and I swear he had like a cloud of smoke that followed him in. And he came in there, he was super pro. He knew every line, he knew every mark. He nailed it like on the first take again and again and again. And then in between takes, people were just like, hey, can I get a photo with you? And he was so generous and so nice and just started taking pictures with everybody. And I was standing there watching the whole thing go down because, just in my world, I'm usually standing right next to these people, holding a camera. It's just not what you do. But it was Snoop, and I was so excited. So I went up and I got a photo with him, and I still share it. I love that photo. It's one of my favorite photos.
That's cool.
It's cool.
I wish you always had someone following you around and take pictures of you. Then, like
Right.
you're just in the moment. You're in the moment. It's like, oh, you're working. Oh, that's so-and-so. Okay. I mean, the only moments you get is whenever you get caught on camera, which I get caught on camera all the time.
Yeah, I've been caught on camera a couple of times.
I'm always making some show one way or another. But that's the only, the only way. So.
No, celebrities, I get along with celebrities. I've worked with Lin-Manuel Miranda. I've worked with, Madonna. I mean, I worked with some of the biggest people out there. And, sometimes you catch some attitude. Some of these people aren't, having their best days. And then sometimes you meet people who are just gold inside and out. And they want to know you. Jeff Goldblum was one of the nicest guys in the world. You work so closely with these people, and you just want to respect them. I actually have a good friend who's a camera operator working on something with Billy Crystal.
Oh, wow.
And he was having a smoke in the parking lot or something like that. Billy Crystal walked out, and he asked him for an autograph. And Billy Crystal lit up on him. told him that was super unprofessional. He called over the producer and was just like, "Who's this guy asking me for my autograph and everything?" It was like a huge faux pas for my buddy. He still
Wow.
talks about it today. It was like a
Wow.
real learning experience for him.
Lesson learned.
Yeah, lesson
You know?
learned.
I
You know,
mean,
and it all depends on who the guy is, you know,
Yeah.
and what kind of day they're having.
but I've never understood the autograph thing. You know, like Formula One. We love Formula One. And to watch these drivers, they're walking and they're having to sign stuff and they're just signing, you know, but it's like I don't get what that I don't get the value in that.
I don't understand it either. I mean, I'd love to have a photo with somebody like Snoop Dogg or something like that. You know, it's not like I can make a shirt out of it or anything. I think it's
I
like
know.
sitting on
Even-
Facebook or something.
But even the selfies, like we were in I was with I don't want to name drop. I was in India with a well-known actor and we're flying back from India, and God, the people that just wanted his photo and to have him sign
Yeah.
anything and trying to do selfies.
Yeah.
And he was like, you know, he's like, get on my space. I mean, I
Yeah.
would hate that. I mean, I wouldn't want to.
There's a world where you're just too famous. You know, you can't
know.
live a normal life without people
Wow.
coming and bothering you. They think they have some sort of access to you because because you're in their living room
Yeah.
every night, you know, so they just think that, oh, I know this guy. But you do not.
Oh man, I wanted to hit this dude at the airport. Good on him. Good on the guy I was with for just like ignoring him. But I'm like, how the hell do you ignore this shit? Like, I wanted to thump him myself. So
But you know, that's just part of the world that we live in.
Yeah.
You know, we know that everybody is just out there trying to make a buck. I mean, you know, actors and actresses as well, producers. I mean, even in the world that I'm in, you know, like there are really famous directors of photography. And, you know, there's a lot of fanboys out there that if they see them, they'll go running over and be like, "Hey, can I have your autograph? Can I have," you know, and they're just another camera guy, you know, nobody famous, but they're famous in their world. You know, they're super well known. But even those guys are just like, "Hey, you know, I'm just at work, just trying to do my job." And, you know, people are rushing up to them, asking them for autographs, you know, big directors. I mean, you know, it's really wild what people want out of people.
it's nuts. It's nuts, but it's cool seeing it from the side of the camera that we're on. You know, the behind the scenes, the fun
Well, what's
stuff.
amazing, you know, we were running around New York with Paris, and you know, of course, we're shooting in some locations. We've got to buy the location out for a couple of hours. We were at some famous ice cream store in New York, filming a scene with her mother and her sister, and you know, the place is all locked up, and because it's one of the most famous stores in New York, there's like a line of people who all see the sign that's going to open in a couple of hours, and they also know that Paris Hilton's inside, so there's just like a big crowd is gathering outside. And when Paris came out, she stopped and she took autographs. She gave autographs to everybody, took selfies. She was asking people if they wanted selfies. I mean, she's just really generous with her fans.
Yeah.
So, you know, it goes both ways. You know, if you're that kind of public figure, you want people to have a good taste in their mouth about you after it's all done. And she spends a lot of time with her. I mean, I was actually really, really impressed at how generous she was with her time and her image with everybody. Really stopping to take the time to sign everybody's, you know, autograph. It was really impressive.
Yeah. No,
Well, you know, a lot of people will not do that.
No, they won't take the time. They're like, no. There's assholes everywhere, I guess. You know,
Yeah,
and she's not,
you
and
know.
she just got such a bad. I mean, her persona, people just didn't understand Paris. You know.
No, they don't. Well, you know, they don't realize that she's playing a character most of the time.
Yeah.
You know, that she's actually one of the most brilliant, like,
Brilliant.
entrepreneurial people in the world. You know, she really
She
is.
knows her brand.
I mean, people
you
don't
know?
realize how much money of her own that she's made. I mean, you know, she was
Yeah.
born with a silver spoon, but she turned that silver spoon into, you know, 10 silver spoons. I mean, she's really made a lot of her money all by herself with just smart investments, smart branding of her own. I mean, look what she's done with her own brand. I mean, it's
Yeah.
amazing.
And now she's
Really
a world class DJ, right?
Yeah, apparently.
I mean,
Yeah. And she is. She's traveling nonstop. You know, I know she's got a personal cameraman who was on our show. Really, really great guy. Really, really talented. And he is permanent staff with her. And he follows her. He's like family. He's on every jet with her. He's at every event. She's meeting, you know, dignitaries. She's traveling all over the world, and he's right there next to her, documenting everything. Really, really neat guy. He was buying all the gear that he saw all of the cameramen having on the show. He was studying us, watching how we did our thing, because he's mostly a stills guy. but he's starting to do a lot more videography for her and covering her events. Yeah, so she's really, really well documented, and she's got really smart, talented people around her to help keep the image alive. It's impressive stuff.
She's a smart one. Hey, I know I had a question. What about that Eco Challenge show you did?
Oh man.
Yeah.
Eco Challenge was an amazing, amazing experience. Mark Burnett. I remember I was working on a show. This is in the 90s. This is 97.
This is pre. Although
this is pre everything. This is before Survivor. So, Eco Challenge is an adventure race. They've got a couple of these that are happening around the world. They've got the Raid Galois, which is a French adventure race. The Eco Challenge had been done in a couple of different places. This one was in Cairns, Australia, on the Gold Coast. And it's a 300-mile race. You got to get from point A to point B. You have to just generally orienteer. You have to horseback. You have to rappel. Whitewater rafting. There's all these just different events that you have to track across and do. And the executive producer from a show that I was working on asked if I was interested in doing it, being a part of the show. So, of course, it was like an amazing adventure.
Yeah.
So what they did is they sent me out ahead of time. So I spent actually 3 months in Australia putting the whole show together. And then the majority of the crew all showed up about a week before the show actually started filming. And then we filmed for 10 days, and then it was over.
Damn.
Amazing. I got to know Mark Burnett really well. He's a really, really great guy. And he had done that show already multiple times, but it had never been broadcast. And this was the first time it was being broadcast by Discovery Channel. And I mean, we had 40 or 50 camera operators because they all have to be, the race actually takes place for 7 days, 10 days or something like that. So there's not really time for people to hopscotch around. So they just have camera operators everywhere. We had helicopters everywhere. Apparently a couple helicopters went down during the production of the show.
No bueno.
And it was, you had to sign your life away. It said, if you fall off of a rock and to your death, then the show is not responsible. You're out there, you're a free will. It was crazy because they were telling us everything in Australia actively wants to kill you. Like, it's
totally
like one of the most dangerous places in the world.
Still is.
And it still is. And so we had to learn all kinds of safety. We had to learn snake bites, spider bite stuff. I mean, I saw a wolf spider. I mean, this thing was this big around. Its body was like, it was one of the most terrifying things I've ever seen. But it was a really amazing, amazing time. I really learned a lot about physical production, about live event production, which I had already had some experience working with The Big Help and did the Kids' Choice Awards over at Nickelodeon. That's actually one of the producers that brought me over from, a big event show. And at the time, I was still working production. I wasn't doing camera work yet.
That's
so
crazy.
I was a coordinator. Yeah, so
That's
I was
crazy. So you're
coordinating work over there.
So you always act like you don't know what's going on in my world, but you actually do. What the hell?
Oh man, I know. I'm super schooled in production. I mean, I've produced movies. I've produced all kinds of stuff. I know there's like secrets that people like you who do it every day have. But no, I know my way around a set and a budget.
Good to know.
But yeah, I mean, Eco Challenge was really an amazing, amazing experience. Just learning how a big show like that is all put together. I was out there hiring, because you don't rent things in Australia, you hire them.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's right. I think I'm with the person, right?
Generally, yeah. So like boats, like cars, like everything. But I was putting together the whole production office and getting everything ready for when the production did show up to Australia. And then coming right off of that, I came back to Los Angeles, started working at something over the Universal lot. And then, all the people that I had met on Eco Challenge all started talking. And they were all saying, Mark is going to do a new show, which they described as a real world Gilligan's Island. Basically putting a bunch of people on an island and they all have to live and figure it out. And
Survivor.
And then Survivor was born.
Wow.
I've tried really, really hard to get on that show. I didn't get on the show. But look what happened to that show. I mean, are they? They're still producing that show, right?
Still
Survivor's
doing
still
it.
around.
Still on. Yeah.
So that was 98, 99, which is basically the beginning of reality television.
Yeah.
I mean, that was it. Of course, there was like Road Rules and like those kind of smaller shows, but nobody had put anything on like major network television that was that big of a production. And I had a lot of friends that were going over to do that show. And still a lot of people that did that show. And then, of course, they went from that show to what's the
race?
The race. It's not the race. It's the big race.
Amazing Race.
The Amazing Race.
Yeah.
A lot of people who are just like adventurers who just do those adventure shows.
Yeah. I have some friends that work on the race and they love it. I tried working on the race. I don't know what happened. I was up to do one of the finales. It was here in LA and something happened and it fell through. But I always wanted to work on that because I always found it fascinating, the logistics that go into a show like that, because it's live, and it's real
monstrous.
It's a real game. So you can't alter it, on production side. So it's basically docu-follow. I just find that pretty fascinating, having to embed.
It is super interesting, but for me, like I was never interested in working on a show like that. It just, for a camera person to be on a show like that, it is
backwards.
Hard.
It's brutal.
It's brutal. And and then you're also at the beck and call of the participants. Mm-hmm. So I heard stories about participants who were like getting into cars and speeding and just kind of like not living real on the safe side, and really putting crew and people in jeopardy in just to get from point A to point B as quickly as they can.
We were just watching an episode of the new Amazing Race, and there was a crew that I guess the camera crew or whoever the support crew follows them. So it's two vehicles, right? And so they're following, and they have to make sure that they stay with them. And they didn't. They took off and lost their crew, and they ended up having to wait there till the crew got there, which really screwed them. And I think they boned him in the end. They didn't, finish, but it's a real thing. I guess I didn't, you think about that.
I mean, that's one thing about what I've discovered in reality television is that safety was never always first and foremost.
Not back in the day. Nope.
Not back in the day. I mean, not even really right now. I still see people sitting in the front seat of cars, shooting backwards with their backs to the airbag. Yeah. I see that kind of stuff. There was a really great DP that I was working with in New York, and he had devised like this seat that would go right in the center, like the center console in between the driver and the passenger. And he made like a reverse seat so he could get in there and film. And it was all padded out. It was really, really impressive. And then it gave, then you could have somebody sitting in the passenger seat, an audio person or something like that, watching their numbers. But, that guy was thinking about safety. He was thinking about his crew. Like, if it's not me, who's going to be sitting in this seat? I mean, how many times have I filmed out of a minivan with this back door open? I've got like a couple of ratchet straps on me, but it's just like, this is not safe.
Yeah, I will say, at least on Top Gear, from the time I started, I want to say we were pretty, when we filmed it, because we always filmed out of the back of a Suburban because it was the cheapest way, because you didn't have money for a camera car. And so we always did have ratchets. Everything was ratcheted down. I don't think we had the harness in place right away until maybe a season or so in. And then the harnesses were definitely a part of it. And we were pretty safe for the most part. But yeah, it's when you got a big show like that, you have to be safe. I mean, I'm... For all the danger that we had in Australia, nobody got hurt. Nobody was seriously hurt. I think one guy flipped a car or something after, not getting any sleep. One of our production managers flipped a car. But other than that, I mean, the whole crew was super safe. I mean, they went through a lot of time to make sure that we knew the environment that we were in and knew how to take care of ourselves when we were in the field. And I've always super appreciated that. But I have friends who have fallen out of boats, whitewater rafting with full audio gear on and stuff like that. I mean, like put in some really dangerous situations. I mean, we remember that guy, that camera operator that was killed in that helicopter crash 10 years ago or so. I mean, there's just some really, and they were flying when they shouldn't have been flying. So, that's one of my main things has always been safety on set, for everybody, and not just for us, but for the community at large. If you're filming in a public location or something like that, making sure that all your cables, your
gear is all tucked up away so nobody's tripping over a C-stand or a tripod or something, but it comes from years and years and years of experience of working on this thing and seeing people on the street fall over my gear and stuff, so.
Safety first.
But safety first, safety goes all the way up the ladder. You have to make sure that everybody's safe, whatever you're doing. I mean, I was on a show. We were making a short film. We were shooting out like towards the Mojave Desert area. And the director just wanted what he wanted. And we were on what we thought were some fairly deserted roads, but they weren't deserted. They were operating highways, but they're just 2 lanes in the middle of the Mojave Desert. And we just thought we could start filming there. Just literally just pull over the side of the road and start using the road for a broken down car that we were going to film. And there were cars coming, and there was like this kind of like thing coming up, and we had a PA over there with like an orange vest, a quarter mile down to wave people, let them know that we're take over the highway. No permits. We were there completely illegally. And then sure enough, a cruiser comes down and he was like, "You guys can't be here. What are you guys doing? You're shutting down the highway?" I mean, this guy was like flabbergasted that we were doing what we were doing.
I bet.
Oh man, it gets worse. So we do that. The next day, mind you, it's like 10 people all spending the night in like a Super 8. Like we had like 2 rooms. There's probably like 10 people, It's like one of those things.
One of those.
So we are filming the next day at a house that we had secured. And by secure, I mean that the producers went up there a couple weeks ahead of time to scout. And there was like an AM PM gas station. And they saw a house down the way, and they asked this guy, "Do you know anything about this house?" That, because we're in the middle of nowhere. "You know anything about this house? Is there any way we can contact somebody to rent this property?" And this guy was like, "I got it." He's like, "I know the people. I'll put it all together for you. Here's my number." And then they worked with him, gave him a couple $100 to help put it all together. And on the day we showed up to the location, we noticed that there was a little window pane that was broken out of right next to this door. But the door was open. The guy said just to go right in and do our work. And so we did. We started setting up production. We had catering. We had, we were putting up, easy ups. We had tents. Wardrobe moved all into the house. We had a little area for camera. And I was not the camera on that show. I think I was just helping this guy kind of coordinate everything. He was a buddy of mine. So while we're there, all of a sudden, it was like this long road. It's like this old ranch house with a long kind of driveway. And these people show up, this old woman and old man, older, in this pickup truck. And they're like looking at us, and the woman's shaking her hand, and she's like, "You're not supposed to be here. What are you guys doing here?" And then all of a sudden, they like donated it out, and they like flew off. And they're screaming, "We're calling the police." So we're like, "Oh, shit. This is the right location. Is this where we're supposed to be?"
Man.
So we pack everything up to its suite. Like we are working. And mind you, we're in the middle of nowhere with a van. We've got like a U-Haul van. And so in the middle of the Mojave Desert, there's nowhere to hide necessarily.
No.
We can't just go drive away and, expect that the police aren't going to find us. So the producer, this other kid, Chapin, who was like a PA, and myself all decided to stay and wait for the cops and talk our way through this thing. And so we're all sitting on top of this pickup truck by the front of the property, and this cruiser starts coming. We see it from down the way. It's got its lights on, and we're like, "Okay, here he is." And we all kind of like getting up off the truck and figuring, we're going to have a casual conversation with these police. Well, when I say they came rolling in like Starsky and Hutch, I mean, they literally came, screeched to the side, were like, "Arr!" They popped out of these cars, guns drawn, a semi-automatic rifle, and another 2 semi-automatic rifles. And they're like, get on the ground, screaming at us at the top of our lungs. And we're like, what in the fucking world? So we all get down. It's a dirt road. We're like in the dirt. I'm looking over. They're like, spread your hands out. So I'm like, spread out. I think my hands were like this. Or like this. They're like, to your side. And I was like, they're out. And this cop came over and kicked my hands until they're to the side. And I'm looking at this producer who's also just around the, laying on the ground. I'm looking at her going like, what the fuck? And he kicks dirt in my face. And he was like, no talking. And I'm like, holy shit. So then they continue to hog tie me. put my hands behind my back. I had my feet all curled up. It was crazy. She's sitting on my leg, and she's got me all handcuffed, and they pick me up, throw me into the back of the cruiser, all three of us, and treating us like
fucking criminals,
like armed
right?
criminals. I mean, so
Wow.
just a little bit of backstory. Just before that in Los Angeles was when that bank robbery happened, and those guys with semi-automatic rifles were shooting everywhere, and they had like the armored gear on. Do you remember that?
Uh-huh.
There was like this big armed robbery in Burbank, and the cops were completely outnumbered with their guns. And so the LAPD decided to start arming police officers with semi-automatic weapons after that, because they didn't have that. They just had their pistols.
It's the pistols? Jeez.
So now these cops have these guns now. So that's what they came rolling in hot with. And turns out, shocker, this guy had no affiliation with this house, the guy at the AM/PM. He just thought it was empty. And what had happened was these people on all Saturdays drove to the house that morning before we showed up. They drove to the house with a prospective renter. And when they got to the front door, they noticed that the window was broken. And they were like, oh, somebody's broken into our home. We'll show it to you some other time. And they left. And then when they returned like an hour later, there was a full film crew there.
Oh my God.
And they were like, they're the ones that did this. You know? Like, so that all comes out. This old man wanted to press charges. His wife was like, no, look at them. They're just kids. This was a long time ago. They're just kids. They're just trying to make a movie. Like, you know, it's not their fault, blah, blah, blah. And this guy was livid and he wanted blood. So he wanted to charge us with breaking and entering. He wanted us all arrested.
Wow.
Fortunately, the officer had some sense. He was listening to our whole story. And he asked for the phone number of the guy who put it all together for us. So we're all, mind you, still sitting in the back of the car, handcuffed. And he calls this guy. And he says, hey, this is George from the production. We can't get into the house. And he's just like playing along, this officer. And the guy says, no, the door's open. I left it open for you guys. It should be no problem. You know, I made sure that everything's all, you know, copacetic for you guys. And then the officer identified himself. He was like, well, this is Sheriff so-and-so of the Kern County Police or Mojave Police or wherever it was. And the guy hangs up. So we felt validated that we were telling the correct story. You know, we hadn't lied to anybody. Though the people that owned the home were still there. They heard the whole conversation, but this man still wasn't letting up. Wow. So I think the three of us all dug into our wallets and came up with like $80 or something and gave the guy $80 for this little pane of window that was broken, which we didn't break.
Right.
And then they let us on our way.
That's
nuts. The
nuts.
cop was just like, after this kid Chapin had like a bunch of weed. That was the biggest loss of the whole thing.
You're like, no, weed. $80 and some weed.
Yeah.
That's nuts. Oh my God.
It was insane, dude. It was insane. But that's what I mean. Like, you got to cross all your I's and your T's. I mean, these cops could have come in and shot one of us. I mean, these people could have shot one of us. I mean, you know, you got to make sure that your ass is covered on these things.
Wow.
Man. Yeah. I mean, that's one of my go-to stories when I talk about a shitty production. You know?
Oh my God.
I mean, it's some scary shit. You know,
there is some scary shit that happens. That's nuts. So I don't think I've had anything like that happen to me.
Yeah, that's honestly like the craziest story I think that I have from production. You know, I've been in some precarious situations. We've definitely, you know, been filming where we were not supposed to be filming and getting, you know, I made a short film where my own short film where I told the whole crew, I was like, we're going to be filming in the parking lot of the VA hospital. And we did. We shot there all day long until probably around 2 or 3 in the afternoon. Some security guard came driving around. And he's like, what are you guys doing here? We had shiny boards set up. We had like all kinds of stuff. And I just saw this big empty parking lot. And I was like, oh, we could film here. And, you know, if somebody tried to do that to me now, I'd read them a riot act. Like, hey, we don't have permits. Like, we got to do this all by the numbers. Yeah. You know, I mean, there's definitely scenarios that I still shoot, you know, stealing locations and things like that. I mean, as long as you're not doing anything too crazy, I think that's all fair. Yeah. But within reason, you know, if you're going to have a crew with you, then you should do your best to protect them against whatever is out there.
Liability on someone else's property. Yeah, and I hate going places where you don't have permits. I do I do like filming outside of LA and California because most of the time you don't need permits.
Yeah,
you know, it's
easier.
just letting them know that the film commission know you're around and you're, you know, what you're doing and for tax purposes. But I mean, that's about it. So
The thing is, though, with that, though, so I'm working on this true crime show where we have permits. You know, we have all we're completely covered, but that still doesn't change when you go into like a neighborhood someplace and you're filming in like the middle of Guthrie, Oklahoma, where everybody's super protective of their space, and you know you're there with a camera, and nobody's trusts a camera anymore.
no.
So you know we're trying to film some of these locations, like a house where this murderer used to live or something like that. And people are coming out of their homes like, why are you filming that house? What's going on with that house? What news station are you with? And they want all your information. They want to see paperwork. They don't know what a permit looks like, but they're just like, do you have a permit to film here?
Yeah.
People are super, protective. And when you go into like these little, podunk towns and you got a camera, people are wary and they want you out. They don't want you there.
Well,
they don't want you there.
It's just going to add more stories for down the road for Go for Donny.
Right.
So
right.
That's what it's all about.
I'm looking for stories every day. By that, I mean, I'm looking for jobs.
They will come. Well, hey guys, don't forget to, come check out my website, RJ. I have a website. It's called gofordonny.com, and it's pretty cool where you can get some nice little stickers, and I got some hats here and, some black ones. I got some sweatshirts and whatnot and some photos, and you can learn more about me because I'm so interesting.
Yes, you are.
But and I also want everyone to know, and you, just in case you didn't know, that this is not only an audio podcast, it's also a video podcast where you can catch it on my channel, my YouTube channel at Go for Donny. That's where Go for Donny and Switch a Channel to both there. So don't forget to check those out. Raoul, it's always good to chat with you. Even though we chat pretty much daily, it's always good to chat with you on camera now.
Yeah, record it. Record some of the bitching.
Yeah, I know. We need to just start recording our conversations, and then I can just tap into that and cut it in and out. But but we got to get going though. We got to get over to the other channel and get some more chatter. But thanks enough for coming on, dude.
Thanks for having me. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to have you on because I know there's some more stories that we haven't shared that I don't know, maybe we can't share, but maybe we can share. I mean, because there's some stupid fucking stories. But yeah, no, thanks for coming on, dude. And don't forget what my mother-in-law, what your aunt always says, hashtag HTFU. Virg loves to say HTFU, mate. Right on. Thanks, Raoul.
Right on. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Donny.
All right. Peace, brother.
Yeah, see you soon.
Production for Donny.
Go for Donny.
Locations for Donny.
Go for Donny.
Habitat for Donny.
Go for Donny.
Hey, Donny, what the hell are they doing?